Everybody is worrying about themselves just as much as you're worrying about yourself. And nobody cares. And I don't even mean that in a mean way. I mean it in the most freeing, you are off the hook way. If you are looking to move forward in your life towards your authentic dreams without sacrificing your emotional health, your nervous system, your relationships, or your spiritual health, well, you are in good company. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Courtney Lancaster, and this is a safe space for creatives. This is the Heal Create podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Heal Create podcast. I am Courtney, and today I wanted to start off with a story that I honestly haven't thought about in years, except that there's this trend going around Instagram where it's like me when I get into an Uber, and the quote is like, "Oh, hi," and then it's like me when I get out of an Uber. And I saw Huberman Lab do it, and he's like, "Me when I get out of an Uber." Okay, so make sure you get 10 minutes of sunlight every morning, 20 minutes if it's foggy. Make sure that you breathe from your diaphragm. Make sure you take 5 grams of creatine, 10 if you have sleep deprivation. Okay, bye. And I was laughing because my friends will tell you the amount of times that I find a way to create an intimate connection with somebody that I've never met in the span of an Uber ride or a coffee order or sitting down at a restaurant with our waiter or waitress. I just love people, and I'm obsessed with their stories. I'm obsessed with empowering people, and it is the through line of my literal entire life. I have always been cheerleading other people. And so it was probably 2016. And I was living in the desert, and my car broke down. And our tow truck driver came, and he's like, hitching our car, and we're driving. We have to drive it's kind of far. We have to drive from one end of the desert in Palm Springs to the other end. So it was like a good 35-minute drive. I mean, and driving slowly because my car is being towed behind him. And he started talking. I started asking him questions about what he wanted to do with his life, or what did he like to do when he wasn't doing this job, and what he hoped his future was. This was like way before I ever did any kind of coaching, counseling, anything, speaking. I just, it was just like a natural, I don't know, unhealthy obsession with like people's lives. And I was asking him, and he started talking to me about how he really dreamed of designing women's handbags. He was like a young guy, probably late 20s. And he was like, I have a business model. I have all these designs. I'm familiar with the market. I've followed it for like the last 6 or 7 years. I grew up with sisters, and I've always really wanted to design women's handbags. And I was like, yes, of course you do. That's your calling. That's what you're supposed to do. And I literally had the moment when I closed the door and I was like, okay, bye. So listen, you have that dream for a reason, and it's just time. It's time now. Like, it's now or never. You got to jump. You got to do it. You can do this. The world needs your handbags, sir. And that's a true story. I was thinking about that because he was so worried about what people would think about him. And if his buddies would think he was lame, or if like people wouldn't like his designs or whatever. And I remember just being like, who cares? Who cares? And I think the who cares idea it's something, my husband just recently was like, you say that a lot, who cares? I'm like, yeah, I do. I actually get it from my sister-in-law has always said it. And she's like even more in her who cares. She's more extreme in her saying who cares than I am. It'll be like, I don't know, something like outrageous. She's like, who cares? I'm like, people do actually, and it matters. But when it comes to moving forward in your life, it should be actually very obvious, but it still amazes me how much the belief of what somebody might think will hold you back. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, one of my clients, about this idea and about how we were talking about when you are imagining people in your life or that you grew up with, the kids that bullied you in high school, the people you go to church with or whatever, imagining what their reaction would be to the things that you want to do. And that being just a really big hang up. And we ended the session and I'm like, listen, so the bottom line is nobody cares about you. And it's not true, of course. The people that love you deeply care about you. And the people that don't, let's talk about them. So I had this experience of going to a big, huge, it wasn't Comic-Con, but it was like the second biggest convention like it, because we have a friend who is a famous voice actor and he was one of the guests. And there were like, I don't even know, dozens and dozens of celebrities that were a part of this huge, huge convention. And because we were friends of our friend that's a voice actor, we got to go into the green room and be around like all of these different celebrities. I mean, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to name names, except for that it's public information. It was like some of the cast of Star Wars, the entire cast of Back to the Future, John Cena, Zachary Levi. There was, I can never remember his name, Orlando Bloom. I was washing my hands in the bathroom, and next to me was this woman with this beautiful skirt on, this beautiful pink skirt, and it was Heather Graham. And there were so many, and we got to be in this like small green room space with them, and it was just fascinating and so fun. And I was telling James, like, the truth is, like, what I noticed from that convention is like no one, I don't mean this in a mean way, but nobody is as good looking as they are on screen. Period. Also, no one is as tall, except for Zachary Levi, who was more good looking and taller than you would think. But everyone else was like, just looked like a normal human. And I think it made me think there were so many people at this convention that wanted to get in line to get autographs from all of these people. I mean, like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And they had like a shopping area that was just rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of stuff you could buy that was associated with all of the different like movies and everything that was represented there. Anyways, it was just like a whole culture I had no idea existed. It was just a whole world. And I was just thinking, it made my world feel so small in such a good way. It's like, here I'm like back at home in my little house in Laguna, just like, oh, I hope that my aunt doesn't feel weird that I'm posting about this. Oh, I hope that like the people that I grew up with in church aren't mad at me. Oh, I hope that my college, my 20s best friend who it used to be mean to me isn't like judging what I'm doing. Like, they're not thoughts that keep me up at night anymore, but they have been thoughts over the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years as I've been like stepping into what I have wanted to do, that I have all been there just like they are for most of us. And, the thing is, this is a really normal biological response. Like, it is not, there's nothing wrong with you if you're worrying about what people, think about you. But the truth is, like, everybody is worrying about themselves just as much as you're worrying about yourself. And nobody cares. And I don't even mean that in a mean way. I mean it in the most freeing, you are off the hook way. If you've ever been like halfway through, like, a business idea draft or like an outfit change or something that you wanted to post or a blog post you're writing or a song you're writing, or like you're about to post a video of you performing something and you were like, what will people think? that like you're biologically wired for belonging. There's a reason why you're having this thought. The problem is that you aren't parenting this thought. You are believing this thought to be an actual real threat. Your nervous system actually thinks your survival depends on being accepted by the tribe. That's normal. Our brains evolved in small communities where rejection equals real danger. So your body most likely responds to judgment the way it would an actual threat to your life. So if you freeze or you obsess or you procrastinate, like you're not lazy and you're not crazy. You're trying to feel safe. Shame feels life-threatening to your body, which is the thing that your body is trying to protect you from. Shame is the perceived disconnection from love. And it feels life-threatening because once upon a time, it kind of was. Once upon a time, as far as like if you think about how our brains evolved, it kind of was. But also once upon a time, as a little kid, little tiny human bodies can't tell the difference between like emotional abandonment and actual abandonment. And kids can't take care of themselves. So it does feel life-threatening. The people that you're worried about what they think about you, they're honestly probably thinking about what they want to make for dinner tonight, or like their weird rash or their last text message or their Amazon order. Like they're thinking about themselves. And nobody is thinking about you as much as you are. So the nervous system needs evidence to build trust. It needs evidence that you are safe and loved no matter what. And that can come from therapeutic relationships. For a lot of us, that's where it starts. It can come from a securely attached childhood. It can come from, but honestly, if you had a securely attached childhood, you wouldn't be probably listening to this episode. It can come from your partner. It can come from your girlfriends. It can come from like your people at church or the people that you create with. Like you can experience like a safety and unconditional love with people. But the place that it can come from most consistently, if you can do the work to cultivate this in yourself, is you. And so learning to love yourself anyways, learning to be with yourself anyways is essential. I have had such an interesting year with content creation. I mean, there's so many cars on the road now with content creation. Who isn't creating content? Like we're all trying to do that and to navigate like what that means and what's the impact and what's the toll and how do you do this sustainably? And so my challenge this year was to post every day. And I have posted most days. And man, it just stretched me in the beginning so much. And the craziest thing that's happened as I've posted every day is I have probably every single time I've posted, I have lost about 5 followers and I've gained about 5 followers. So my follower count, which is not large, it stayed like the same. And I just feel like it's helped me so much to let go of who's paying attention to what I do. Because the truth is like I am trying to offer a message. I'm trying to share my life. I'm trying to encourage people. And I am repetitive because daily content creation is. And so if people aren't following you or they unfollow you, let's just make this about social media for a second, because I know a lot of my creatives that listen to this have to learn the entrepreneurial skill of social media content creation. There's so many reasons why that could be. It could be because, it could just technically be because people are closing their social media accounts. It could be because what you have to offer isn't what they need. That's a really important thing. Like how many times have you unfollowed someone because you're just like, meh, like not for me. Or like I'm following too many people. People could be just cleaning out their follower list or their following list and just only focusing on people that are inspiring them in certain ways. Or this is the worst case scenario, I think, is that people, they either don't agree with you or they think what you're doing is stupid or they think what you're doing is damaging. And the reason why that is safe is because you have to understand how projection works. When you're judging someone, judgment is always projection. Projection means there are parts of you or beliefs that you have that if you see in someone else and you haven't like learned to love and accept it in yourself, then you're going to judge somebody who is either doing it or believing it or whatever. That's how judgment and projection works. Now, there's obviously like justice and boundaries, and that actually expresses a lot differently. If you notice that somebody's doing something wrong or something that you think is truly damaging, then you get to decide like, okay, am I being called to like speak up about this or to confront them about this? But that's not what I'm talking about. And let's even go there. If that happened and somebody confronted you about what you were doing, what an opportunity to really reinforce and clarify for yourself your why. But most of the time, the judgment that you're afraid of is actually like, we don't like you, you're out, you don't belong here anymore. And that is the kind of judgment that your nervous system thinks is actually life-threatening. And so I've experienced that. I've experienced that mostly. I mean, I think I thought when I started like really being honest about what I wanted to share online, and I'm not perfecting, but what's the word? We're working with it every day. Like I'm figuring it every day. And it's gotten way, way easier and way more fun. But I think I thought people were just gonna, I don't know what I thought, talk to other people about me, which I'm like, now it's like, well, that's okay. Like, I know who I am. I know what I'm trying to say. I know that I'm not here to like destroy people. I'm not here to destroy anything. That's not my job. That's not my purpose. I'm here to like help people feel normal in their faith wrestle. I'm here to encourage creatives. I'm here to empower women, especially as I'm a woman. And I know that because I grew up in a super, super conservative upbringing, my nervous system is more primed than maybe somebody who didn't, to be very aware of something that I could do or say that's wrong, because it doesn't just have implications of judgment from other people, but it's like I could have, based on my conservative upbringing, could have eternal consequences. I don't see things that way anymore, but I know that there are people that have followed me that do. And you know what? Some of those people did unfollow me. And I feel like it's gotten to the point where my audience is refining. And again, if I'm a really small example of this, I know people that have huge platforms that are experiencing this same thing, but just on a much, much bigger scale. And it's honestly like none of my business. That is the worst case scenario. And you know what? People judging you actually doesn't happen that often. Not nearly as often as your nervous system is afraid that it's happening. And that's probably the message that I want you to take away from it is, if somebody's judging you, they're just projecting their own fears or concerns or their own shadow onto you, the things they haven't accepted. And that has nothing to do with who you are and how loved you are. And even if you did make a mistake, that's okay, because we learn from mistakes. But honestly, the worst case scenario, it's not about you, and it's actually really, really rare. It's really, really, really rare. I've shared this story before. But I was on a podcast last year. If you heard my episode with Zach the last time I put an episode up, then you heard I was on his podcast a year ago. I always forget. Bibles, Bros, and Beer. Bros, Bibles, and Beer. Bibles, Bros, whatever. Something like that. Bibles, Bros, and Beer. And they are like three guys that like all have totally different opinions about faith and Christianity and come from three totally different places. And I was on their podcast and I said something kind of like outrageous, but it was only outrageous because it was on a public forum. It was something that I would have said to my friends, and it had to do with me being a worship leader. And they asked, we were talking about like, what songs would you not lead in church? And I said I would never lead Reckless Love because of the line, oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. I don't deserve it. I didn't earn it. And because that has such a behavioral, it talks about like not deserving, not earning is not something that a well-loved child would say to a loving parent. And I know that there are people that disagree with me. Gosh, I know that more than ever. But that is where I have been led in my faith, is to see this relationship with God as a well-loved child of God, who receives unconditional love from God, from the best parent in the world, this force of love. And I think because I know how powerful it is to sing things over yourself, it's just not something I would ever lead people to sing to sing over themselves. And I said the F word, and I was like, I would never sing that. And I got blasted online. I mean, I can't even, the things that people were saying to me and about me were so mean. There was a lot of fear there about who I was and about the message that I'm putting out there. And it's so interesting because I always am so tuned to the kids that are struggling so much with even wanting anything to do with the Christian faith. And I feel like there's so much beauty and potential in it. I'm digressing. But my point is that I almost forgot for a second that there's like the entire evangelical community of Christians that think that well, first of all, a woman being on a podcast, a woman drinking, and a woman saying a cuss word. And then my view that we should not sing, I don't deserve the love of God in a song is a bad thing. And what I learned from that was that, wow, you can really live through online hate. I mean, and it's like online hate. You're welcome to look it up if you'd like. I mean, hate and like strong, gosh, I've never felt more like a little kid going to the principal's office or like sitting in front of an elder board being reprimanded. And I was 40. I'm 41 now. Yeah, I was 40. A grown up, a middle-aged woman. And my nervous system for temporarily was like, well, this is the end. And I just think, that was the worst case scenario. It is actually pretty rare that it happens, and it's very survivable. But you need to understand, if you were to match an experience like that against the amount of times that somebody either didn't even register what you were saying or doing, or like genuinely loved what you were saying or doing, the scale would be tipped so far in favor of nobody really cares. Nobody is like, people aren't judging you. People do want you to succeed. That you would think that you would just be like completely free to go. Do whatever you feel called to do. And I hope that you are a little bit more after today. And I want you to really think about that. Your brain is like, what is it? Good news is like Teflon. Bad news is like Velcro. And the beautiful thing that this situation last year did for me was it really helped me to know how resilient I actually am. And one of the things that they were saying to me, that the guys from the podcast, was they were like, oh, this is just like, people just get out anger however they can through stuff like this. Like, this is really common because there are people that like, they only feel like they can express their rage online in whatever direction they find something that they disagree with. And I was like, oh, like it's not about me. But even if it was, I would use the opportunity to heal and grow. The amount of times, though, that somebody has encouraged my work or joined my coaching program or reposted something or commented something encouraging or sent me a text is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, even in the last year. I mean, daily, because I do surround myself with like a very encouraging crew of people, and we are constantly lifting each other up. And if you don't have people like that in your life, I really want to encourage you that it is possible to build those relationships in your life. And you know what? They are all of these people that I love that are also creating, and the content creation groups that I'm in, like everybody is wrapped up in their own world. Barely, if you even think of like the cringiest thing you could possibly post, that person might be like, ugh, which we've talked about cringy before. Cringy is also projection. It is somebody projecting their shadow onto you, the things they don't want to accept about themselves, blah, blah, blah. But even if so, if you posted something super cringy, you're like, whatever, doing the Macarena on a table drunk. Somebody's going to look at that and be like, oh my God. And then they're going to immediately go to the next reel. Done. This is same as even if you're not in content creation or social media. This is the same for whatever thing you're trying to do about your life, with your life. Switching careers, getting a new job, trying to date again, changing your fashion, getting like really pursuing your creative hobbies. Like, I promise you, the thing that thinks you're going to die if people judge you is just a biological response that can be rewired with your own deep self-compassion, regulating your nervous system before and after every small step forward, and loving relationships that surround you. So the next time that your brain says, what if they think I'm cringy? I want you to say, they're too busy worrying about being cringy themselves. That is true. Take the step anyway, regulate before and after, and remember, your nervous system might care. The younger parts of you might care, but your purpose does not. Your purpose truly does not care. And if you can surround yourself with love, it gets easier and easier to step towards your purpose. I promise you, the life that I have now, and it's not like I have a big following or a big platform. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the life that I actually live, my relationships, the community that I'm in, the things that I'm doing, my health, my business. There are so many things that I could not even imagine 5 years ago trying to explain to myself are true now. And probably my biggest hang up because of bullying, because of being, oh gosh, so many different reasons, having abusive family members. There's some, like the biggest thing that held me back was what people think. And it is possible to heal that. And, as I went to this huge convention, that was my big takeaway. Like there's like literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people all trying to get the autographs of celebrities who were sitting next to me that were like, I don't know, that just were normal people. Like nobody cares. Do your thing, people. All right. I love you. And I am excited to tell you that we have the Daily Practice Design Guide that is coming out next week. Me and my little team have been working on this for the past few weeks, and it's something that seems so light bulb to me, but I want to tell you why. Wow. Sometimes the marketing that comes out of my mouth, I swear is like, it is so genuine. What I was going to say was, let me tell you why you need this. The reason why, though, is because the reason why I created this was because I do believe that people need this, especially the creative kids. Guys, there is no lack of inspiration. There's no lack of like a lot of information, which we know. And it can turn into comparison. It can turn into fear. It can turn into like all the information that you are receiving through media. It can overwhelm your system. But one thing that is really good about it is that we have access to see the way that people are living and choosing to express themselves and pursue their health and their passions more than ever. And it's exciting for healing because we also have like a lot of information on how to resolve anxiety. There's so many interventions and healing modalities for resolving depression and chronic illness and the things that hold people back for lifetimes. We have more information and access to than ever before, which means that it's getting safer and safer, or potentially it can get safer and safer for you to pursue your dreams and really, really live in alignment with who you actually are. But we have to take daily steps towards that, small daily steps towards that. The thing about worrying about what people think is that you will end up creating your entire personality based on what you think will make you palatable to the types of people that you think might hurt you the most. And that is hugely problematic. I mean, that is a major contributor to chronic illness. Don't quote me. I'm not a doctor. This is everything that I've read and researched just for my own personal life. But to recognize that you might not be living the way that you actually want to. I'm not even talking like fame and fortune. I'm just talking like the way that you feel called to live, the things that you feel called to value and how you want to express that. To know now more than ever that is actually possible for you to heal and create. It's exciting, and it's also very frustrating if you feel like you can't figure out how to make it happen. And the truth is that if you don't have a daily practice of habits that help nourish your nervous system, help you resolve emotions, reparent emotions over time, and help you take steps towards your dream, then you are going to feel like you're treading water. You're going to feel like you are staying in one place, you are not going anywhere, and you keep getting excited, and then you just keep feeling like life is just going to keep lifing all over me. So we created this daily practice design guide to help people, first of all, ground into what is their aligned vision. What is the vision that they have for their lives that will help them move forward and will help them really ground into what they want to create authentically. This is it's the 10 things in 10 years vision. If you have the Heal Create course, then you already have this. But it's the vision that will help you anchor into your future self, your future life. And then we have an entire, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. This whole PDF of the explanations behind the different pillars that you should be touching into every single day when it comes to a daily practice. And we have a menu of different options, different habit options for you to choose from to create your own daily practice. And I'll talk about it more in the future, and I'm talking about it on Instagram, but I don't know. I just feel like it's really exciting. It's the thing that I feel like I hacked my way through the freaking wilderness to figure out myself. And to be honest, it's not because I'm like this ingenue that just discovered this. Like a daily practice, daily habits, habit stacking, like that's out there. Like you can totally figure out a lot of this stuff on your own. For me, I just didn't have any mentorship in this area. I didn't have any like clear, concise way to build a daily practice that supported my health and my nervous system and my dreams. You can hear my teenager in the room next door laughing with his friends. And that's why I created this, was because I'm like, it's not that hard. For the kids that are out there trying to do a thing, you need a habit. You need a daily practice. So stay tuned for that. You can sign up for my email list on CourtneyLancaster.co, and it will send you the information when it is available. I love you guys. I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful summer weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.